21st, 2025, and welcome to the first regular board meeting in the School District of Springfield Township for 2025. Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, I apologize for the late start this evening. We had an executive session that went a little long. We had some discussions on confidential negotiations, the recent cybersecurity event, and additional security topics. I'm going to turn it over. No, I'm just going to do the reading of the mission statement. I'm going to turn it over to anyone. I'm excited about it. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Ms. Green, let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Dr. Aberly.
Here.
Mrs. Bell. Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Jordan. Dr. Taratusky. Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. Bedard.
Here, full house. Just one announcement this evening. The board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitation set forth in policy 006, board meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoons following each meeting. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend of snow, Eagles victories, and the celebration of Dr. King's day of service. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Yannicone for updates and the superintendent report.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking the board for your ongoing service to our community in this School Board Appreciation Month. When considering how to recognize you as individuals and as a team of 10, I thought about the unwavering focus you maintain on the well-being and best interest of our students. It can be a challenge to keep students at the center of our work, and yet I have found that our school board members do so with such consistency and clarity that it warrants mention. So tonight, each of you are receiving gifts made by some of our most vulnerable students at the middle and high schools. The first item is presented by our work-based learning students at the high school. It's a cutting board. You all have a gift wrap version of this cutting board here, including you, Sophia. This is a cutting board with the word board member defined as one who solves problems you did not know existed in ways you do not understand. Also see superhero, legend, rock star. The second gift is some home baked goods from our middle school kitchen, baked by our students from Mandy Payne's classroom. They had a little preview of that during dinner at executive session. We're all truly grateful to each of you for your commitment to our school community through your service on the board. Thank you very much, and congratulations on another school board recognition. Beyond January being School Board Appreciation Month, there are a few events and activities underway in our schools and offices that I know Sophia will share with you. But I just want to give a few words of thanks for some of the events I've attended this month. First of all, I want to thank our music educators for preparing our students to perform beautifully at our winter concert series. I'm looking forward to tomorrow and Thursday night's Erdenheim concerts. Secondly, our visual arts educators who not only teach our students every day, but planned a fantastic district art show, which is on display this month in the high school lobby. If you haven't had a chance to see it, I'd encourage you to go to the high school any night in the next 10 days. It'll be actually 2 days. I apologize. Dr. Johnson gave me a look like, wait a minute, it's coming down this week. And so in the next few days during the concerts or before the concerts, you can see some fantastic artwork K through 12. I also want to thank Ms. Renee Bowles, and the entire fourth grade team who invited me to participate in today's fourth grade presidential inauguration, where I had the pleasure of meeting the class's selection for president and vice president, two students who understand that listening, respect, humor, and service are essential components of leadership. They did a fantastic job. I also, special shout out to the Secret Service members of the fourth grade who did a great job securing our president. I also want to thank Mr. Lutz and Mr. Sneed and the members of the technology department who quickly and thoroughly managed this month's recent Power School cybersecurity incident. They did a fantastic job, and the whole team, I'm grateful to. Mrs. Marlene Thornton earlier this month and her classroom colleagues, I want to thank. They performed a beautiful story centered on Aesop's fables and the importance of acceptance and inclusion for our Enfield students this month. I really enjoyed seeing that at the high school. And finally, our grounds and maintenance teams who are working overtime and on holidays. Yesterday, they were the only ones here to ensure that our campus is safe and clear of snow and ice on multiple occasions this month. Thank you, Mr. Watley, to your team. And then just briefly on our board motions tonight, under academic affairs, you're going to see a calendar adjustment to accommodate the date of municipal elections, which initially we thought was going to be in April. And now we find that only presidential elections will be in April. Municipal elections will continue to be offered in May. And so we're shifting back the calendar because on those election days, there are countywide professional learning opportunities that we want to be able to take advantage of. Under policy, we have a series of minor changes that were approved at our December policy committee meeting, and I'm going to allow Mrs. Hubley to share that in her report. I don't want to take away any of her thunder. And under property, you'll see that we have land development and bid award motions. These will finalize the steps necessary to break ground on the middle school project next month. It's a very exciting time for us. Mr. DeFranco will be sharing those details shortly in his report. So I'd like to now turn to our spotlight for the evening, which is our middle school student council, and our new principal, Dr. Amy Mangano, will kick it off. Dr. Mangano and our student council.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Most importantly, because of kids. I think everything we do every single day here makes this moment come alive because it's truly about the children that attend here. And this is just another one of those proud moments for me as a building principal to be able to come and support them. They really are the ones running the school, in case you really wanted to know. So any issues you might have, no, I'm just kidding. We also have two incredible adult sponsors for this particular club, and this is our executive board. And this is Mrs. Rogers, who's over here, and Miss Ortiz, who's to my right. So I just wanted to take a minute to thank them for preparing, getting totally dressed up and prepared for tonight. Really super proud of them. And I'm going to let them take it from here. So thank you for your time and attention and your support.
All right, we are the Middle School Student Council, and we wanted to give a mid-year update on what we've been doing at our school because I feel like we've done a lot of important events at our school. So if we could go to the next slide, thank you. Before we get into that, you should know who you're talking to. So I am Sam. I am the president of the Student Council.
Hi, I'm Aubrey. I'm the vice president. Evelyn Toth is our secretary.
And I'm RJ Lesniak, and I'm the secretary.
All right, and here are some of the service events that we've done this year. So we've done food drives, like I know around Veterans Day, we had a clothes and food drive for veterans who need that type of stuff. We've done toy drives for the holidays. I believe that was December 5th is when our toy drive ended, and that was very successful. We had American Education Week, where we honored our educators. We do various bulletin boards on the bulletin board outside of the library, like our, I want to say, Native American Heritage Week. We've done a bulletin board for that. We've done our magazine drive, which we do annually, where our school collects money to go towards our school funds, like school sports or after school clubs. And we've done our breast cancer awareness bake sale drive that our field hockey team hosted in order to raise money for a certain organization.
Other events that we did a winter movie night where we hosted Ratatouille. That was very successful. We had over 130 students attend. And then we also had Unity Day, which was when every homeroom was split up by color and then we all went against each other. And it was a really fun time and it showed a lot of teamwork. We had Hispanic Heritage Month and Black History Month. It was a little early because the gymnasium is being renovated. So we also had our Veterans Day Assembly, which was very fun. And then we have monthly town halls where Dr. Mangano and the other vice principals will speak to every grade. And it's a fun time. And then we also had a Halloween costume contest. It was very exciting.
Our future plans are we're gonna do a Valentine's Candygrams thing that supports the LA wildfires. We're also planning Fridays to be Spirit Days and all the days of winter. And then we're planning to do a school mural and tailgates at the athletic fields.
Thank you so much for listening. Now, before we end, I have arrangement vouchers to give out in honor of American Education Week. These are from the STMS Student Council and Service Club, and the flowers will be given out March 18th, and they are from Spartan Blooms over at the high school. So
All right, Aubrey is going to hand those out now. Thank you for giving us your time and attention, and I hope you get to see us blossom and bloom throughout the rest of the school year.
We should have asked do you have any questions for them?
That's just a comment. I can't believe the middle school students, they're so poised and they had some good information to share. I'm just really impressed.
Thank you. We appreciate that. They worked really hard and we really need it. We do meet. They'll come to me. Everything that's in, that they talked about in these slides, these are from they represent the school and the school body and the students. So they bring ideas to the table. Not all of them make it, but a majority of them we find a way to make it happen. So thank you.
I just wanted to add on, if I could. I thought it was really compelling that where you started the update was on the service that the school and the community is doing for others. So meaningful, and I think such a big part of the value that you're bringing to the entire school. And then the second was all the cultural things you're doing to bring people together. I think that is part of what makes Spartan Pride so special. So thank you for your leadership and representing the student body. Awesome work.
Thank you for that. We do try to embed within that all multiple perspectives and honoring where people are coming from. This is a place where I think we really try hard to allow everyone to be who they are and honor that and respect that, and then have some fun, which is our spirit days, and really try to take the energy that we have here, which is quite a bit, and put it somewhere and give it back to our community and to organizations. So thank you. We appreciate that.
So I want to say thank you to our student council leadership. You do look fantastic, very professional, great job. To our advisors, thank you for volunteering your time. I know that that's extra work for you on top of your teaching load. To Dr. Mangano for your leadership this semester. I think we've really had a great kickoff under your leadership this year. Thank you very much. And I'm actually going to turn it over to me because I'm going to come get that microphone.
While you're walking, let's do one more round of applause for the middle school.
Okay. So I'm shifting to reports under reports and information and our equity action plan, which will be here in just a moment. And while I'm waiting for it to go up, I'm just going to say one thing to that student council as you're heading out. Don't forget, we love our Eagles, but don't mimic the tailgates in your tailgates this year. That's adult only behavior on those Eagle tailgates. Okay. Although I am looking forward to this Sunday. All right, so Tim is getting us up and running. I'm just making sure. Tim disappeared. Oh, yeah. So what we're talking about tonight is the Equity Action Plan Year 3 report. You may recall several years ago, the board adopted Board Policy 832, Educational Equity, and that mandates that every 3 years we'll have an Equity Action Plan. And annually in January, we'll present a report to the board on our progress towards that year's goals. So this is the last year of our 3-year plan. And as you'll see, we're really proud of what's happening there. Do you want to go to my slides and have me share them, or are you okay? It's okay. All right, no worries. It's a lovely app.
For those online. Those online with actual hardware is being installed by the team.
Fantastic.
We are ready to go.
Thank you. All right. So this is our year 3 report. Thank you, Dr. Lutz. We'll take turns advancing slides. So as you know, our vision for this equity action plan was to focus on our district mission and our idea that we need to continue to build a caring community rooted in equitable practices. This has been the mantra that we have used as an administrative team, as a faculty, and among our student body. Just a quick reflection, we know that the district has been committed to equitable practices and equity work for a long, long time. It is embedded within the district. But in recent years, in 2019, the board adopted the equity vision statement, which now is at the entrance of each of our buildings and offices. In 2021, we started a formal equity audit with the University of Pennsylvania, and we collected feedback. We worked on our hiring data, our representative staff data, and we made every effort to create a 3-year plan that would move the district forward in our equity work in areas of need. In 2022, the board approved that policy that I referenced a few minutes ago, policy 832, and the equity action plan kicked off. And the policy calls for an annual plan. And so we go January to December rather than school year to school year in our equity action plan. So this is the final year of the plan. We have concluded year 3 just last month. And here we are giving you our report. We have already hired, as you know, the Mid-Atlantic Equity Consortium to conduct our next evaluation or assessment. And that assessment begins this Thursday. So their team will be with us virtually this Thursday, our leadership teams from across the district, to begin that conversation. So I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Lutz, and I'm going to take the slides and advance them for you to start talking a little bit about our year 3 goals. Oh, excuse me, Dr. Johnston.
You ready for me? Okay. So one of the things that we were challenged with was it's really easy to talk about equity. It's really easy to say all the words and have all the ideas. The real challenge is to put focus behind it. And so one of the things that we really wanted to focus on in this action plan, particularly by year 3, was that access and opportunity yielded measurable outcomes. And so our commitment to doing that is that we would figure out ways to use our data in order to inform the decisions that we were making and identify our areas of strength and needs. And those of you who serve on academic affairs know that we have now instituted an annual data presentation about our academic achievement and performance every fall. And so the way in which we did that was also creating data protocols with our administrative team. So in the summertime and at regular intervals throughout the school year, we've asked our principals and their leadership teams to examine data through a specific strands of looking, including disaggregating that data, which we'll talk about again in a few slides. And so that was the first part to get started. Thank you.
So our next goal was to collaborate with our parent organizations, and we have a lot of them here in Springfield Township. We're very lucky that we have involved parents and community members that support our schools. And we really want to involve them in our K through 12 roadmap, making sure that they feel like the school district is accessible and that they have input into some of the things that we're doing. We have a really robust Enfield and Erdenheim home and school partnership. They work with us on a lot of different activities, both in the school and then supporting from behind the scenes to make sure that all children are able to participate in activities. We're really proud of our work with the Multicultural Parents Association and all of the great things that come out of that. And then also just some of our township, the Enfield Garden and Sustainability Club, the Springfield Township Opioid Action Committee. We have local churches, other organizations that volunteer and come in and work with our students. And then this all comes together because they're able to provide us with feedback that includes also the superintendent and assistant superintendent meet with both students and families through their advisory committees to get feedback from everyone. Our next goal was to explore scholarships and reduced fees, sibling childcare, to make sure that all of our students across the district were able to participate in extracurricular activities. And this is an area where our social workers have really taken the lead. We're proud of all of the outside organizations that they've partnered with to make sure that everything from extracurricular activities, field trips, anything that a child needs, including their school photos, gets funded by one of these generous organizations. So we've worked with Stevens Rise and Grind to provide opportunities for students to get outside counseling when students aren't able to afford that. We've worked with Shane's Kindness to make sure that every single student has holiday availability, that they're able to go on field trips. If they need something for athletics, that's provided for them. And it's really been helpful because our social workers are able to make those connections and then support families to ensure that they have what they need. One of our goals was to work with parent organizations to grow what some of you historically might have known as the Ambassadors Program so that new students and families to our district can feel welcomed. We haven't been able to return to the Ambassadors Program since COVID, but what we have done is we've pivoted and we've created a really robust process that everyone in the district is involved in to welcome new students, to make sure that they have a streamlined opportunity to get involved in Springfield so that right as they register, they're getting a welcoming letter from the principal that gives them a ton of information. We've also created a new student welcome information newsletter that houses all of the pertinent information. How can I get involved in clubs and activities? If I want to play a sport, how can I do that here at Springfield Township? What numbers do I need to contact to get to administrators? So all of that great information is stored in one place and we send it out to new families so that their entrance into Springfield, they're better able to hit the ground running and really feel like a part of the community. It is. It's posted on the website. Thank you. I'm going to turn this back.
As I mentioned before, one of the things we've really talked about is how do we take a look at how we're doing, not only for a sort of a conglomerate of students, but by subgroup. So we've taken a look at disaggregated data while also looking at a variety of indicators of success. While we absolutely are committed to the academic success of a student, we are also interested in the overall measures of success. And so we talk about that as like sort of the alphabet letters, right? But students, are they attending school? Do they feel like they belong? How are they performing in their curriculum measures? How is the curriculum doing in supporting all of our students? What's our discipline data looking like? How are students engaged in the process of being at school? And when they're here, what are they doing with their time beyond just going to class? Are they connected to extracurriculars or athletics? What kind of feedback are we getting from our surveys, from those advisory councils, as Michelle mentioned, and really taking a look at what we're hearing from other students, and then also these networks that we've been using online, having families and students give feedback about their experience on Niche and some of those other reports we've seen. How are we performing in our state measures? How are we performing in our FRI data. How are we looking at the US News and World Report's responses? And finally, and sort of most importantly, is how are our graduation rates? Again, not only looking at it in the holistic, but breaking it down into subgroups so that we can examine where do we have strengths and where do we have opportunities to grow.
And our last goal for year 3 was to make sure that we were providing the same enrichment opportunities for our students at our younger grades that we know that we provide at our older grades. So here at Springfield Township, we're really proud of the fact that a large majority of our students participate in athletics or activities at the middle school and high school. But our principals and our staff down at Enfield and Erdenheim have done a tremendous job of bringing a large group of really great activities for our students to get involved with. We've talked about these because they've been slowly building over time, but you'll see there's now opportunities to dance, play chess, to run, to be involved in karate, science explorers. There's some intramural sports clubs. There's a lot of really great opportunities where our youngest students can get involved here at Springfield. And what we know is that students who are involved have a better sense of belonging. We have a really great return when we survey students on our belonging data. 95% of our students across the district in grades 3 through 12 report that they have a good sense of belonging here. And that's thanks in part to all the activities that we've brought forward for them to get involved in.
So just to highlight a few of those areas, when we surveyed families several years ago, part of the feedback was that there was this unwritten curriculum that families who grew up in the district knew, but new families did not. And that's where that welcoming packet and the way in which we are greeting families, that was the origins of that. When we talked about the A through G's of measurement, we had conversations about we didn't have clarity about which specific measures were we using to determine whether or not students were successful here. And so we wanted to identify, clarify those measurement tools and make sure that they were holistic, that we're not just relying on standardized assessments, but we're looking at the whole child. And so just looking at our top 10s, these are the things we're most proud of in the last 3 years. We've prioritized student voice through our advisory and affinity groups. So we have grown advisory groups and affinity groups, and they do guide us in decision-making. For example, over the last month, we have students at the middle school and high school in our advisory groups who have been demoing new Chromebooks, which we are scheduled to purchase this spring for next year for every middle school and high school student in the district. They piloted them, they've used them for the last month. They gave us feedback at advisory, and based on their feedback, we are purchasing devices that meet their needs. And so we did that with Erdenheim just as well last year. So we use those advisory groups to guide our work. The affinity groups, I'm going to give a shout out to Dr. Lutz. She meets faithfully with those groups at the middle and high school, and then she provides feedback to the administrative team, in particular with regard to students who feel marginalized historically and knowing that they can have opportunities to lead, opportunities to get engaged, opportunities to find their voice within our school system. We've looked at disaggregated data from all of our buildings. And I think you're aware, but just as a reminder, we're looking most specifically at lower socioeconomic disaggregated data because that has a cross-section of impact across all other demographic groups. But we are close to 23% free and reduced lunch, and that is largely free lunch. And so we know that that's a significant percentage of our students who come to us with needs that we want to make sure we meet so that they can be successful along with their peers. Increasing student representation across subgroups and school events and extracurricular activities is something that we have done and monitored and paid attention to and provided feedback to our building leaders about, whether that's involvement in extracurricular activities or awards at the end of the year. So we're looking hard at making sure that we're being really inclusive and thoughtful about all of the types of recognition that we're providing to students. Our belonging survey data, as Dr. Lutz mentioned, has been outstanding, well above national data. Growth in the development of representative staff members at all levels. This was a target for our school board several years ago, and we have worked really hard to create representative staff across all different work groups, administration, teaching staff, support staff, every group you can think of. We look for demographic representation so that students can see themselves in the people that they come to school and get taught by or are served by. Strong communication with families. We've worked to standardize our weekly newsletters, and it's also language accessibility in those newsletters because we found that we did not have that previously. We're also looking at other forms of accessibility with regard to our website and our newsletters to make sure that regardless of disability, our community can access information. Training sessions and resources have been provided to all staff members on the equity vision of the district. Historically, only teaching staff were provided that information, but we have, through Dr. Lutz's efforts, we have made sure that we have provided that same training to food service workers, to bus drivers, to every group that works for the district to make sure that we have a shared cohesive sense of the equity vision of the district. Accountability and transparency of reporting through our annual presentation and our enhanced equity action plan website is something that we want to make sure we continue to maintain. Our K-12 course guides, I'll give a shout out to Dr. Johnston. She was instrumental in making sure that not only did our high school guide move to the next level in a dynamic version on our website, but that the content was helpful to families and students in making good decisions about the next course of study. And we created in the last 3 years an elementary and a middle school course guide, which previously did not exist. And again, that goes back to families getting the information they need readily in a language that's accessible to them and information that helps them to find out what they need to do to support their children as well. And then Board Policy 832 was certainly the kickoff to this. And many members of the board tonight were also on that board and made sure that we had an educational equity policy, which didn't previously exist here. So what's next? We're going to continue our work with the MAEC. As I mentioned earlier, that's going to start on Thursday. We've actually already shared quite a bit of data with them, and they've been doing some data analysis for us based on the data sets that we provided. We are going to share a second district equity action plan, and that'll be for 2025 through 2028. We hope to have that to you before spring break, depending on how quickly the MAEC is able to get through their assignments. And then we want to continue to build on our accomplishments of the first EAP to continue to work to ensure educational equity for all. And I'm just going to leave you with 2 slides. First of all, these are the resources. We're going to have this set of slides up on the website for any community members who want to dig into the EAP report further. And then you can also go to our website and see all of the resources that Dr. Lutz is maintaining faithfully on our website. And then just finally, I thought it was relevant to share, this is our equity vision. This is very personal for me. I've shared with members of our administrative team. This poster has been up in whatever office or classroom I worked in since I was 22. It's the first poster I put up in my English classroom in 1993. It was the poster in my, yes, I'm old. It was the poster in my principal's office, and it was the first thing I put up in my superintendent's office here in the district. I believe this firmly. This is the mission of public education, right? So Pastor Niemöller was a German Lutheran pastor. He thought about what happened in Nazi Germany after the fact and felt that he had not done enough on the front end to make sure that marginalized students and families were protected. And I think it's a powerful warning against apathy and the importance of speaking out against injustice, even when it doesn't directly affect you. So first they came for the socialists. I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So I really believe as a district, and it's the reason why I'm here, quite frankly, what I left another district and came to Springfield is because, like that former district, this district believes, you all believe, that our number one job is to protect our students and families, and in particular, to protect the least among us. And so I want to leave you with that and thank the board for your support. And then Dr. Lutz and Dr. Johnston and our whole administrative team Grateful to everybody for their work with the Equity Action Plan, and we're happy to take your questions if you have any about the plan.
Just had a question about the audit you mentioned before. I know it was probably my fault because I was making notes at the time. When is it expected to be done? Say by spring break?
Yes, so
Okay.
the target that we've set out with MAEC was that they started in November with we delivered data to them. All of our internal assessment data sets we delivered to them. We had several interviews with them, conversations. Dr. Lutz and I had conversations with them about the history of the district, where we were with our EAP, where we hope to go. And then they mapped out a plan for us, which starts with consensus groups. That's their term. At each of our schools, we identified consensus groups who are representative of all areas of the staff there. We're going to start with our first meeting on Thursday. That'll be a virtual meeting. Over the course of the next few months, they intend to work with those consensus groups on some key areas of strength and need. And then they will also be coming to meet, as you may recall, some of you previously, they will come for face-to-face meetings with members of the school board, members of the community, members of our student body, as well as our staff. And so their goal by spring break is to give us a cohesive set of recommendations, as the University of Pennsylvania did several years ago, that we can then take and bring together into our own plan. We have already done work as an administrative team based on our internal data assessment as to where we think we have room to grow and continued areas for emphasis, but we want to hear from another group. And for those who may not know about the MAEC, they are a federally funded grant program, so it costs the district nothing to have them do this assessment for us. And they've changed the term audit. We're trying to get used to it. They now call it an equity assessment. So that's what we're going to be working with them on.
Thank you.
Of course.
Clarification.
Anything else that we can answer, or any other questions from the board, or things you're hoping we'll work on in this next plan?
The update was very comprehensive, so thank you for that. Dr. Johnston, Dr. Lutz, great content. I think I'm always really encouraged by the belonging data to see the number of students that really feel like it's a place where they're not just learning, but really feel connected to. And it's clear to me that the student voices became a big part of kind of the evolution from year one to where we are now. And I would say that that's the piece I would continue to lean on. I mean, we saw that middle school student council and just the quality of our kids and hearing their voice come through and take ownership of some of the next pillars as you think about the 3 years ahead of us. I think, having students really take a leadership role, I think, is an important next step in the evolution.
Absolutely. We've really enjoyed our time with our students. That's my favorite thing to do, is go spend time with students and hear their thoughts and hear their ideas. One of the areas with regard to the belonging data that we know internally we really want to work on is there's a disconnect in some grade levels between what parents believe and what students report is happening. And so we really want to close that gap and help more families to feel confident that we have their kids, that they have a trusted adult they can go to. The Safe at School data is outstanding, whether parent data or student data. But the other two key data points we've been following, there's a gap, and we want to close that gap in the next few years. So some more parent outreach and education, and getting our students to help us spread that message is part of it, for sure. Yes, Mrs. Aberley.
Just that continued expansion of the extracurricular activities, especially in those lower grade levels at the elementary schools, I think has been really, really encouraging. And, we saw that great presentation around the unified sports, for example. I think as much of that as possible, because I think that really helps with the belonging aspect. But it's really, really encouraging.
I agree. Last week, I was able to attend senior night for unified bocce at the high school. And it was so great to have 7 seniors from all different very neurodivergent group of kids, all really enjoying themselves in a great sport that's accessible. And they've made friendships that I hope they'll keep for a lifetime. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much. And with that, I'll turn things back over to you, Mr. Bedard.
All right, thank you. This is actually, well, let me just ask, any other comments or questions from board members before we move to our reports and information? Great. It's a natural segue. We're actually gonna get an update from our homeschool partnership. I think we have Ms. Donahue is online. So Christia, I will turn it over to you. If we can promote Christia Donahue so she can present, that'd be great.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Excuse my voice. I have the virus that I think everybody's gotten around Springfield Township these days, so I'll do my best to get through this. Um, I just want to say that that was an amazing presentation, Dr. Yannicone and everyone involved. So thank you so much. And there's a lot that segues to what our work as well, as you said. So we're really proud to be a part of Springfield Township. Just a quick look back. In December, we had our Erdenheim Book Fair. We raised $3,360 from that book fair. And we have Enfields coming up in March. That's always a great time for the kids to come and they shop with their class and have their little wish lists. We also, as Dr. Letts referenced, ensure that we are working with our social workers to ensure that all students have a chance to shop. So we make sure that they each get $20. So this year we assisted 38 students in shopping during the book fair at Erdenheim for a total of $760 from our budget. Um, our Sustainability and Garden Committee hosted a really nice winter hike at the Schuylkill Center in December. So they've been putting together these nice family hikes that we really encourage people to enjoy and get out. And as they spoke on, just feel a sense of community and meet some new fellow Spartans. We have our financially, I just wanted to give a recap that we are about halfway through the year. And we tend to give out most of our grants in the second half of the year, but we've given out about $6,000 year to date. And that includes for staff, professional staff grants, as well as our grade level grants for um, assemblies and field trips. So we have had first grade, third grade, fourth grade, and soon to come fifth grade have been able to use their grants so far. And we expect that all of the grades will use those, no doubt. We've also been able to replenish Enfield's recess equipment through a budget that we have for recess equipment at both schools. As we know, the kids go through those very quickly. Coming up, I wanted to share that we have a winter warm-up sale happening through our Spirit Wear. We will be launching that tomorrow, and it's going to have some really great beanies and sweatshirts and gloves and blankets. And that's going to go on from tomorrow through February 1st. You can order that from our website. Anybody is welcome to shop, and that it's just general Spartans wear. So we would love to have your support. Looking ahead, we have our Harlem Wizards game coming up on Saturday, February 22nd. Tickets are going to go on sale on January 27th. It does sell out quickly. It was a great hit bringing it back last year. We're grateful to all of the staff who have volunteered already to participate as players. We are looking for a few more, so we hope that some more will sign up. We have our school talent show, both of our schools, Enfield and Erdenheim's talent shows coming up on Saturday, March 2nd. We're now taking signups for that, and that's a great day to see our Springfield students and showcasing all of their amazing talents. And then at the end of March, we'll have our designer bag bingo coming back on Saturday, March 29th. We are always looking for sponsors for any of our major events. So if anybody has a corporate business or, works for a company that would be interested in sponsoring our events, we would be happy to speak with you. And our next general meeting is on Wednesday, February 5th at 6:30 at the Erdenheim Library, also on Zoom. We will be giving a brief overview of our board positions that will be coming available for the next school year. Hard to believe, but it's coming up, and we would love for anyone interested in getting involved and having a more hands-on experience with their child's education to join us. So that's it for me. Any questions?
No, Ms. Donahue, I've read the room. There are no questions. Great update. The work that you guys do with the homeschool partnership makes a real impact. So thank you for that. I'll be looking for some new Spartan gear before February 1st on the website. Sounds good. So thanks, Ms. Donahue. I appreciate it. Okay, we will now move to our update from our student representative to the board, Ms. Sophia Gotti.
Very much. Before I start my report, I just kind of wanted to take some time to comment on all of the presentations that's been here, especially for the action stuff. I just feel like having this experience as a board rep, like, just gives me a very wide perspective on everything that goes on. And I'm ready to go off the board. Thank you. I'll now move on. So for MP, on December 6th and January 16th, they met in the high school with excellence being done. The body started the second grade students on December 18th, the high school proud and carolers brought the holiday spirit to Enfield Elementary by performing during all lunch periods. Enfield wanted to extend a special thank you to Miss Benton and all the talented student performers for sharing their time and musical gifts with them. On December 20th, they closed out 2024 with a much anticipated sing-along event. Highlights included the second grade drum line, spirited staff members who volunteered to sing, and of course, the enthusiastic participation of the students. Enfield would also like to thank Ms. Kay for organizing the successful event. Today, Enfield was also thrilled to honor Martin Luther King Jr. Day with a special day of service in partnership with the Giving Tree. They created care packages to support individuals experiencing homelessness. Participating classrooms packaged snacks inside socks, tied them with ribbons, and attached personalized heartfelt tags. They used the service activity to honor Dr. King's legacy while teaching students the value of compassion, kindness, and service while directly supporting those in need. Over at Erdenheim, the new year is off to a great start. For one, students just wrapped up their winter Linkit benchmark testing for reading and math. On Wednesday, January 22nd, and Thursday, January 23rd, they'll be hosting their annual winter concert in the high school auditorium. Dr. Benton, Mr. Gibson, and Miss Cherawate, apologies if I butchered that, put an extensive behind-the-scenes work preparing for the students for their performance. Additionally, Erdenheim is excited for the return of some after-school clubs, including Drama Club, Action Karate, Chess Wizards, and Science Explorers. Families are encouraged to sign up students for after-school clubs. And now moving to the middle school. On January 14th, students performed their winter concert, and on the 16th and the 17th, 8th graders took and finalized their midterms. And finally, the high school. Students recently put on a successful winter concert, and in exciting news, some high school students filmed an episode of The Classroom on Fox 29. Their air date is to be determined, so stay tuned. Additionally, the spring musical Footloose has officially been cast and is now in the works. Finally, this week is finals at the high school, so students are hard at work and studying and preparing for the new semester. Yeah, that concludes my report for the night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gotti. Any comments or questions? Always amazing how much activity is happening at the school. So thank you for that update. Okay, we're going to get into our committee reports. We have policy committee first, and then we'll hear from property committee. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Hubley.
Thank you. The policy committee met on December 12th at 3:30 virtually. In attendance were administrators Ms. Kerr, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Yannicone, board members Mr. Jordan, Dr. Aberly, myself, Mrs. Hubley, and student board representatives Ari Schwartzman and Bryn McGee. So what we discussed were revisions to existing policies. The first one is policy 005, organization. The revision is it addresses court decisions regarding notice of reasons and due process when removing a board member in officer section of policy. Policy 113.1, discipline of students with disabilities. Minor changes, including slight word changes to align with other policies and school code. Policy 113.2, behavior support. Minor changes, including slight word changes to align with policies and school code. Policy 202, non-resident students. Update it to reflect legal changes which require this district to notify the parent of withdrawal due to non-residency and offer a hearing as a remedy prior to disenrollment. Policy 236.1 threat assessment, changes to comply with Act 55, which is to appoint a threat assessment team in each building, training options, how the team will respond to threats. The board will receive threat assessment reports during the safety policy 251, and students experiencing homelessness, foster care, or other educational instability. Policy 308, employment contract board resolution, updated to include a definition and guidelines addressing resignation from employment, previously noted in the AR. Policy 317, conduct disciplinary procedures. The reason for the change is to require all arrests and convictions to be required to be reported to us. As superintendent, you have the mandatory requirement to report all of them to PDE, but employees are not required to report all of them to you. Right now, they are only required to report those listed on the Act 24 form, which is a much smaller list. Policy 618, student activities, remove language that requires board approval to allow superintendent approval. Policy 823, opioid antagonist, new title. This comes from Act 135 of 2022, update the definitions and terminology for drug overdose medication. And then there was discussions of existing policies for future considerations, which would be policy 204, attendance, and policy 251, students experiencing homelessness, foster care, other educational instability. Language to be discussed in order to support students whose families may be impacted by immigration status is being drafted in consultation with our solicitor. Policy 253, transgender and gender nonconforming youth. No recommended changes. Just a reminder, board policy dictates that transgender students are able to use the bathroom and changing facilities that align to their gender identity and play on sports teams that aligns to their gender identity. And then policy 824, maintaining professional adult student boundaries, replace district student with students of school age. Again, there's consultation with the solicitor. That is my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Ms. Huber? One clarifying question. So everything that's on the agenda today for approval are minor changes.
Correct.
Or not a first reading, not a second reading.
Correct, right, just minor,
Advised
like
as
word
recommended.
changes, yep.
Okay. As always, thank you to the policy committee for going deep, and it's it's always a lot of content, so thank you. All right, well, any other comments, questions? Sorry. Well, back. Great, we'll get a property committee update from Mr. Neil DeFranco.
Thank you. I also feel like it's been forever since we had this meeting. It was over a month ago. So the last property committee meeting was Tuesday, December 17th, 8 a.m. via Zoom. In attendance, we had Ms. Bell, myself, Mr. Needleman from board members. From the administration, we had Dr. Yana Cohn, Ms. Green, Mr. Watley, Ms. Jenko, Mr. Ferrero, and Mr. Lutz. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have my notes on. Anyway. Student advisory rep, we had Ellen Steen, and then presenters included Mr. Taylor and Mr. Nipper. The agenda items, the meeting began with a review of the administration of policy 707. This is the use of school facilities. As part of this review, Mr. Ferrero delivered a very comprehensive report on facilities usage by outside groups. We next moved on to the middle school renovation and addition bid recommendations. We reviewed the pending project approvals that were still in play at that time. We had an update on the project schedule, the bid results, including alternates, and we also received an update on the project budget. At the time of the meeting, we were waiting for some final approvals before we could proceed with contract awards. I think we were on eggshells a little bit, trying to figure out if we were going to make the schedule work. After the meeting, we did receive the approvals that we needed, and we were able to move on. So on tonight's agenda, We have a vote on the land development agreements as well as the various project bid awards. Finally, we had the school district operations capital project update from Mr. Watley. This discussion included that we're making progress with the high school LGI. At that point, carpets and chairs had been installed. Electronics were next on the docket. I'm sure that is well progressed since then. I've seen the dumpster out there and the truck from the contractor quite often. Completion of the Erdenheim ramp was discussed at that point, and the middle school bleacher project. And then, of course, punch list, high school roof work. The most recent high school roof work was complete with final punch list items. I'm assuming that's done at this point, I would hope, or maybe close to it. And then, of course, deep cleaning schedules that needed adjustments moving forward. That was also underway. For more information and to see detailed discussion, review the video. It's available through the website. And as always, feel free to attend those meetings. The conversations are great. You can participate. Thank you.
Any comments or questions on property committee? I have one only because it was a while ago that the meeting happened. Maybe this is for Dr. Yannico. The large group instructional classroom, which was obviously a significant investment that the board was excited about. I understand that there have been some testing and a Shark Tank style competition that recently happened. Is the room done and in full use?
So it's not quite done. It will be done this weekend. It is suitable for student use at this time. We were able to administer Keystone exams. We are on time for second semester classes to start there on Monday. The piece that is left is the configuration of the technology, which is extensive. So they've been working on that yesterday, today. They'll be working on it all week. Mr. Watley and Mr. Lutz have been working well together and really hard with the teams to make sure that we have a great space. And as I think I've shared with the board previously, it's our intention when this area goes under construction that we'll move into the LGI for board meetings. And I think you'll be happy with the technology there. We also have a number of events eagerly on hold, like middle school TED Talks, because it'll be a really dynamic space for them. So we're excited, and I would say we're in the final days. Would you agree, Mr. Watley?
Awesome. Thanks for that. And for each board member, will there be entry music and lighting effects?
I mean, there could be if you got it. In theory,
Everyone could submit their songs. Right?
Mr. Coughlin in the back is giving you the thumbs
Okay.
up. If that is doable. Yeah.
We are excited about that classroom. All right. Thank you, Mr. DeFranco. We'll move to public comment on agenda items, and I will turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
We're not having walk-on music for comments. So at this time, we're going to take public comments on agenda items. I don't see that anyone who is joining us in person has signed up to speak. I'll take a look online and see if anyone has a hand raised. I am going to ask the folks who are joining us online, if you do want to speak on an agenda item tonight, please raise a digital hand and we can get to you. At this time, I do want to remind everyone, though, that we have a 3-minute time limit for comments on agenda items, and I would ask that you just identify where you live in the district before you speak. Hopefully my cadence bought enough time for everybody joining us online to raise a hand. I don't see any hands raised, so I think we can move on.
Very good. We'll jump right into our business agenda for today, and we have approval of minutes for 2 separate meetings. I'm going to combine the vote on these given the late hour. The first item is approval of minutes from the December 3rd, 2024, which was our reorganization hybrid board meeting. And second, the approval of minutes from December 3rd, 2024, regular hybrid board meeting, which everyone will remember happened exactly after that meeting. So we'll go ahead and ask if there's any comments or questions on these meetings. All right, with that, I'll ask for a motion. Thank you in a second. Any comments or questions? No, I've already asked that. All right, sorry, it's getting late already. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes? The minutes are approved. We have a treasurer's report from the month ended November 30th, 2024. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the November 30th, 2024 treasurer's report. Is there a motion? Thank you in a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. That will pass. We have a second treasurer's report. And that is for the month ended December 31st, 2024. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves the December 31st, 2024 treasurer's report. Is there a motion? Thank you in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Treasurer's report is good to go. We'll move into human resources. We have personnel and HR contracts. Nope, just one, personnel. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, confidential personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities for 2024 and 2025, and conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on the personnel file? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? Very good. Personnel file will pass. Under academic affairs, we have two items. The first is a service agreement. Recommended action here, the Board of School Directors approves service agreement between the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth in the School District of Springfield Township for the 2024-2025 school year for student 2025-0121-01. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Thank you. Any comments or questions on the service agreement? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Pass. Next, as Dr. Yannicone referenced, we have a revised 2024-2025 school calendar. If you missed the beginning, don't worry. We're just updating the date of the municipal primary election. The recommended action here, the Board of School Directors approves a change to the 2024-2025 district calendar by moving the Professional Development Day currently scheduled for April 22nd to Tuesday, May 20th, to align with the municipal primary election day in Pennsylvania. Is there a motion? Lots of motions in a second. Any comments or questions on the calendar change? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Calendar change was approved. On to policy committee. The recommended action is the Board of School Directors approves revisions to the following policies: 005 organization, 113.1 discipline students with disabilities, 113.2 behavior support, 202 non-resident students, 236.1 threat assessment, 308 employment contract board resolution, 317 conduct and disciplinary procedures, 618 student activities, and 823 opioid antagonist, which is a title change. Is there a motion on this recommended action? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on the updates to the policies? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Really off my game in the new year. I'm gonna get it right here under property. We have an update here, Springfield Township Middle School renovations. Our recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the following Springfield Township land development for the Springfield Township Middle School renovations and additions project. Declaration of covenants, easements, and restrictions concerning stormwater facilities, memorandum of land development and financial security agreement, land development and financial security agreement, and the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust escrow agreement. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on these vast number of attachments? Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. And any abstentions? Pass. Our next up is Springfield Township Middle School renovations and addition project bid awards. Now, the numbers here are big, but reminder, the project budget was already approved, so these numbers, we knew they'd be big. Recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the following construction contractors as the lowest responsible bidders, meeting the requirement of the contract documents for the Springfield Township Middle School renovations and addition project. The total amount awarded includes the base bid and selected alternates for the project. The motion to approve the contractors is subject to proper execution of contract, insurance and bonding as a requirement of the contract documents. There are four. First, Bracy Construction for general construction for a total of $17,557,450. Second, JBM Mechanical Inc. for mechanical construction for a total of $6,370,000. Third, Electric Tech, said that correct both times, Incorporated for electrical construction for a total of $4,376,000. And fourth, J.R. Reynolds Incorporated, plumbing construction for a total of $1,767,000. On that very lengthy recommended action, is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions?
Can I just ask, comment, what was the total estimated expenses at the allotted for this project? Question, you should know that, right?
If you recall, we did 4 borrowings for a total of $40 million. First borrowing had other projects included in that. But we, through the hard work of Mr. Taylor, making sure that we stayed on budget and under budget, we were able to allocate some additional funds. So we are looking at being funded for this project and being able to do alternates that were outside the scope of the project, which includes the HVAC system at the middle school.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Great. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? Very good. Let's get moving on the project. All right, we're going to go into public comment on non-agenda items, and I'll again turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bedard. At this time, we'll take comment on non-agenda items. I don't see that anyone who is joining us in person has signed up to speak. So I'll look for the folks joining us online. If you do want to speak on a non-agenda item, please raise a digital hand and we can call on you. We can even offer you walk-on music if you want. No, I'm just kidding. I don't see any, I can sing, but I don't think anybody wants that. I don't see any hands raised, so I think we can close this out as well.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Mr. Needleman. A couple of updates here. We have future board meetings on the horizon. Our next interim board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. That will continue to be a hybrid meeting. And reminder that as an interim boarding meeting, that is tentative. So look on the website for updates. Our next regular board meeting, which is not tentative, will be Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, also hybrid. And there is a change in board meeting date. The May regular board meeting is now going to be held on Monday, May 19th, 2025, due to the election day, as we've talked about. All meetings, of course, are held here in the Audion located in the middle school. until such point where we move to the new large group instructional classroom. More updates on that in the future. We do have some committee meeting dates on the horizon. Academic Affairs will be getting together on Monday, February 10th, 2025. That's a virtual meeting. The Finance Committee will be meeting on Thursday, February 13th, 2025. It is also a virtual meeting. The times for these meetings and details for how to register will be available on the district website. So please do check for those updates. With that, I'll open it up to the board for any comments or questions as we close out our first meeting of the year. Great content today. I loved hearing from the middle school students. I love the updates on the equity action plan, and just appreciate everybody making so much time this evening, both online and here in person. Dr. Yanko, any closing comments?
I just want to congratulate the team that works on the middle school project. It's been several years. We are within budget, and I want to thank Mr. Taylor, who's our construction manager, who's done a great job of guiding the district. And we're excited to break ground next month. All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.